What's up everyone, I am in Vegas as you can probably tell. There's actually going to be an Andrew Neeme and Brad Owen meetup game, and I actually found that out just yesterday when I watched Brad Owen's vlog. And then I found out that it was a 2-5 game and started to reconsider, but I think it would be good for the vlog and I don't think one buy-in's gonna hurt too much. So once I finish eating, I'm gonna try to get to the Westgate early so that I can play some 1-2 or 1-3, and then once that's done, then I will be playing at the meetup game. And I just arrived at where I'm gonna eat. Alright guys, welcome to my Airbnb. Hi, could I get put on the list for the meetup game? Alright, we're here at the Westgate. I got about an hour until they start, Jesus, the sun. We have about an hour until they start seating for the meetup game, so just gonna play some 1-3 and yeah, hopefully we'll run it up. What's up guys, back at home now. Didn't really have too many interesting hands in the 1-2 I played before the meetup game. There was a hand where I had ace-10 offsuit on the button. I raised, got called by the big blind I think. Flop came 10 high, I c-bet 10. Turn was the jack of diamonds, bringing a backdoor flush draw. My opponent led into me for 20. I called. River was the 3 of diamonds and my opponent bet 50 this time. Could turn my hand into a bluff, sometimes call, not really sure, but I just didn't think I was good here and I decided to just let it go. Ended up losing, I think, $50-ish or something like that in the 1-2 game before playing the meetup game. Very early we had ace-queen, under the gun +2 I think opened. I happened to get the seat right across from where Andrew Neeme was gonna sit, so he was at the table as well. He called in the cutoff. I 3-bet ace-queen of spades from I think the big blind, got it through, so now we're up for the day, and then this hand happens. I'm in the big blind once again, and I have ace-king. The under the gun +2 player opens to 20. Andrew's in the cutoff again. He 3-bets to $65. Action folds to me, and I 4-bet to 180. Probably should go smaller here, probably like 150 or 155 or so, but at the time that's the sizing I chose. And action folds to the under the gun +2 player. He 5-bet shoves for a total of 430. Andrew folds, and we're getting a good price to call, but at the time this just looks super strong to me. This player raised from early position. Andrew 3-bet, I cold 4-bet, and now the original raiser 5-bet shoves into 2 players, and I just put him on aces or kings in this situation, and in my mind the best case scenario was him having ace-king. So I thought about it for a while, and then I asked him if he would show if I folded.
Show if I fold? Sure.
He said yes, and I eventually do fold, and he turns over pocket queens, so we were getting enough equity against his exact holding. Not sure how often I should expect to see queens here, but most people on Instagram who saw me post this hand said that I should have called, so ended up being the wrong fold. In this next hand, I'm dealt pocket kings under the gun. I raise it to 25, and in this next hand, I'm dealt pocket kings under the gun. I raised it. Oh my god. In this next hand, I'm dealt pocket king. In this next hand, I'm dealt pocket kings under the gun. I raised to 25, and Andrew, who's on the button, makes a call. One thing about the meetup game is that we're playing the button game, which means every time you're on the button, you have to put $5 on the actual physical button, and then any money that's currently on there can only be won by the player on the button. If the player on the button doesn't win the hand, then it moves, and then the next person puts $5 on it, and it just keeps going around until someone wins the money. So it adds a little bit of an incentive to play on the button and win the hand so that you can win the extra money. So in this hand, there's $10 on the button, and this is a typical Dogebag vlog. We flop top set, 2 diamonds on the board. I decide to actually check this hand. I think having pocket kings here makes it less likely that Andrew has a hand he can call with, such as a king. Of course, we do want to protect against flush draws some of the time, but I decide to mix in a check here and play a little bit tricky. Turn is the 4 of diamonds, so not the best card because it completes the flush, but we still have a strong enough hand to value bet. So this time I decide to bet $35. Andrew makes a call, so we're going to a river, which comes the 3 of clubs. So probably the worst card in the deck besides maybe a 3 of diamonds. We don't have a diamond in our hand. Not only does this card give any ace of straight, it also kills action from any worse hands that might call us. So this should be a very clear check, but at the time I wasn't thinking very clearly, partly because I was playing 2-5, partly because I was playing against a player who is very good and who I respect, and partly because I've been a huge nit in certain hands. So I felt like only betting one street with kings and then checking the river felt a little too nitty, and that's a really rookie way of thinking about it, because the question I should ask myself is, am I getting value from worse? And the answer is no. Should be an obvious check, but at the time I decided to bet $70. Andrew calls pretty quickly, so pretty sure he has an ace here, and I turned over my kings and he shows ace jack. So flop top set, and then ended up running into a runner straight, but definitely played it pretty badly as well, and could have saved myself $70 by not betting the river. In this next stand, I have 9-8 of clubs in under the gun +1. I open it to $25 and get called by the cutoff. The cutoff is a player who had seen my vlog before, and at the beginning of the session, he said he was going to 3-bet out of Andrew Neeme, and seemed like he was there to have fun. So that's the information we have on this player. Flop comes 10-3-4, rainbow, pretty dry flop, so I'm going to put out a c-bet here, and I made it $25. Cutoff called, so we're headed to a turn, which brings the 7 of hearts, bringing a backdoor flush draw, and giving us an open ender. I continue here after picking up equity, and I make it 65 this time. And my opponent raises to $200. I think about coming over the top here. My opponent's not really representing much except for 5-6, or maybe 3s, 4s, or 7s, or maybe some random 10-7 or something like that. Seemed like a pretty loose player, and I'm pretty sure he had shown a few bluffs before. So I think about coming over the top here and going all in for what would be 475 or something like that. But I was playing scared money, and I eventually made the fold. He does in fact show queen jack, so should have gone with my gut and raised. We could have pushed him off of the bluff, and yeah, ended up losing this one as well. So session was going pretty badly. In this next hand, we pick up pocket jacks in the low jack. I open it up to $25. The hijack 3-bets to 65. The cutoff calls, and I make the call as well. Flop comes deuce 6-9 to diamonds, pretty safe flop. I check, and the original raiser in the hijack checks as well. The cutoff bets 100, and I make the call. Turn is the queen of hearts, action goes check check. River is the 8 of spades. This time I decide to go for some value, and I bet 175, but I think this should be a check call. That's what one of my poker friends told me I should have done. If my opponent was bluffing on the flop, I probably should let him fire it again. The cutoff very quickly shoves for what ends up being 595 total. Kind of a weird spot, because I have no idea what he's really representing here. I'm not really sure what kind of hands he's checking the turn with once he bets the flop. If he had jack 10, which would now make it straight, I think he would bet once he picks up equity on the turn. Pretty sure sets would bet as well. He could be bluffing with something like pocket 10s, which would block jack 10 and might check the turn. We aren't blocking any diamonds, so he could be making a move with that, but I think I played it badly, and I just ended up folding. Kind of a weird spot, but let me know what you think of this hand. Last interesting hand of the session, we pick up ace-king again, this time in the hijack. I open to $25 and I get called by the cutoff and the button. Flop comes 5-10 ace to hearts. I c-bet $55 and only the cutoff calls. Turn is the 4 of diamonds. I continue betting and I make it $65 this time. Once I bet on the flop and he calls, probably should just bet big, especially because the board now has 2 flush draws and plenty of straight draws he could have as well. So I do want to charge him the maximum. But anyways, after I bet 65, he shoves for $321 effective. I snap call. He says he thinks he needs a heart. The river comes, the jack of spades. He turns over ace-8 of hearts, so we end up doubling up through this player and making a good amount in the last important hand of the session. Played for a while after that, and nothing too interesting happened. We were in for a total of $1,238 after having to rebuy after losing several hands. I don't think one buy's gonna hurt too much. Ended up cashing out for $879, which makes for a $359 loss. Started off the trip pretty badly, and was pretty discouraged at the beginning of it, so didn't play the best. The king's hand played very badly. Shouldn't have folded with the ace-king, but we still have the rest of the trip to go, and yeah, started off the day rough, but hopefully we ended up making it back. Not going to spoil anything. Hope you guys enjoyed this first vlog at the meetup game. It was really nice to meet Andrew. I didn't get to meet Brad or Jeff Boski because we didn't play at the same table, but hopefully I'll get to see them at another meetup game.
I'm just gonna look. No, you got me covered. I was just looking.
Ace is cracked.
Oh yeah, ace is cracked.
Alright. Just finished up a 3-hour, 30-minute session, something like that. Didn't go too well, guys. We had a losing session. that's all the hands I'm gonna do for today. We booked a loss of $360 today. That is also including the chip that I'm keeping for my collection. Very honored to have had the opportunity to play with Andrew Neeme. Didn't get the chance to play with Brad Owen or Jeff Boski, who was also there. And that is it for today's vlog. I'll see you in the next poker vlog. Good night.